It's finally here, the thrilling conclusion of Imposter Syndrome. Over the course of the series, we've seen how Starline has manipulated two unknown children? Question mark? Into becoming the antithesis, the dark reflections of Sonic and Tails, as Starline wishes to usurp Eggman and show him how he should be committing evil. But, having discovered that their want to take down Sonic and Tails is not their own, Surge and Kit have come up with their own idea. Yes, they'll still crush Sonic and Tails, but Starline is next on the list after that. Whose dark machinations will come to the forefront in the end? Let's find out. Imposter Syndrome, IDW, issue number 4. An interesting little cover. Not too far in, and we already got a 3-way battle with Metal Sonic. Meanwhile, Tails versus Kit kinda looks like Tails should have brought his water wingies. And I love Starline in the background there just going, yeah, get him, get him. Right hook, left hook, uppercut. Imposter Syndrome. Story by Ian Flynn. Art by Thomas. Okay, here we go. Roslisberger. Additional ink by Gigi Duuz-Diz-Din. Colors by Valentina Pinto. Letters by Sean Lee. Editor Riley Farmer and David Marriott. The story so far. Surge has ego. Kit is subservient. Starline has a plan. Surge knows that they have no past. Surge has decided, destroy it all. Raze it to the ground! And Kit has shown intellect well beyond what we would have ever expected. Our heroes of the story: Dr. Starline, theatrical scientist, nefarious puppeteer; Surge the Tenrec, the mean, green, roguish speedster; and Kitsunami Kit the Fennec, sorrowful sidekick, high-flying hydromancer. Okay. Oh, it's a flashback. Early into the metal virus plague, you see the face ship just ing over the land as Eggman and Starline observe. Starline says with so much enthusiasm, "May I ask a question about your method, sir?" Eggman says, "You may." Starline says, "Why all the theme parks?" Eggman just simply says, "I like theme parks." Starline, obviously taken aback by that, says, "Yes, but they aren't remotely practical. All that time, all those resources, could be used more economically?" Eggman says with a sneer, "I don't settle for the world as it is, Doctor. I make it what I want it to be. If I want my enemy's last moments to be carousel music and the smell of petroleum-based cotton candy, that's what I'll make happen." An interesting insight into Eggman's manic tendencies when it comes to architecture. Starline is impressed and beams, "Words to live by, sir." And now, in the present, Starline is thinking back on all of that and says, "And no less inspiring, even after all that's happened. Still a Eggman fanboy right up until the end." And we see our trio atop a hilltop as Starline starts his monologue. "Tonight is the beginning of the end of Dr. Eggman's wasteful ways. Sonic's endless futile war with him. The sun will rise on a new era, one where we control the narrative. We will guide the people of this world out of their complacency. Today begins my glorious new age of chaos and transformation." He is really going all in on this. Starline turns to Surge. She gives a thumbs up. "Let's do it, Doc." Although as soon as he turns away, she makes it very apparent she intends to cut out the good doctor's involvement when all is said is done. Starline also turns to Kitsunami, and Kit says, "Ready, sir." Kit, when Starline turns away, always having this dark shadow over his eyes as though he's planning something devious in the background. And as Starline says, let us begin," he activates the speed power of his tricore. Kit sparks with energy. No, Surge sparks with energy. Kit. That heavy shadow falls once again over his eyes as they go racing to the nearby Eggman base. Ooh, got some great action. Starline using the flight core in order to dodge heavy ordnance. Surge. I don't know why I keep confusing them. Surge smashing Badnik's left, right, and center, although she's about to be murked by a coconut robot, throwing an explosive coconut, only for Kitsunami to catch it and return it to the sender. How they are then cornered by a massive egg pawn with a big old hammer, which he tries to bring down on our, again, heroes, with them narrowly managing to dodge. Kitsunami manages to bind the massive egg pawn's hands so that he can't move. Starline uses the speed core in order to take out the robot's legs, and Surge brings down the thunder with a powerful spin dash right to the head. Boom! Headshot! Very Sonic Heroes-y. Starline then goes racing into the base saying, "Keep drawing the fire while I upload the override program." Kit says, "Yes, sir." Kit starts thinking, "We must make enough of a distraction so that Dr. Eggman doesn't realize his systems are being compromised." Surge is ready to rock and roll as she says, "My issues with Starlame aside, I do like this part of the plan. Unrestrained wanton destruction. Grab on, Drippy." Surge gets into a runner stance as Kit wraps his watery tendrils around her. And then boom! Super electric peel-out attack! Surge goes racing off at high speeds with Kit barely holding on. Whoa, that's a biggin'. Right, Kit says to Surge, "Is it alright we're using Dr. Starline's plan against him?" It is alright we're using Dr. Starline's plan against him, right? Surge responds, "Every dirty deed we do today is justified, little man. The only person you should ever be loyal to is me." And then they come face to face with a gigantic Burrowbot. As Surge comes to a screeching halt, she then grabs onto Kit's hands and launches them right at the bot. Kit turning into a watery buzzsaw, taking the head off the robot clean. Again, headshot. Meanwhile, cut to Orbot and Cubot. After the events of issue 40, which was, what was that, during the, that whole testing round Eggman had in the works, and Bell managed to keep them from getting smashed. Cubot says, "Do you think the boss will be mad we went on vacation without asking permission?" Orbot says, "I say we have a 50-50 odds he didn't notice we were gone. If he didn't, we're in the clear. And if he did, then it's been nice knowing you, pal." Eggman snaps and says, "Where have you been?" He's sitting in his throne, almost like a dad who just turned on the lights because his teenagers were sneaking out. Cubot says, "Oh, just getting a little R&R. Orbot jabs Cubot in the side with his arm. Orbot stammers, "What he means is we were conducting reconnaissance and more reconnaissance?" Eggman's look is priceless, as is obviously he doesn't believe them, but he just waves them off, saying, "Whatever, just log back into the network and get me a sitrep. I'm getting reports Sonic and Tails are making a mess." As Orbot pulls up some information on the goings-on, he says, "This is curious. The battle data matches Sonic and Tails' profile, but the details are incongruent." I wasn't expected to see that word here. Ian Flynn and your $20 words. Eggman says, "What are you yammering on about?" Orbot then pulls up a feed where we see Surge and Kit running amok and in very Sonic and Tails poses as they're beating down badniks. Orbot saying, "Pulling up a visual now, boss." Eggman stands up and says, "Who in the world are these two?" With Orbot explaining, "They're not on file, and the security algorithms can't agree whether they're Sonic and Tails or not." Eggman dismisses this and says, "What's important here is that they're wrecking my stuff. I have just the thing to deal with pesky speedsters and their bratty companions, though." Ooh. Just saw a little bit of what happens next. We then cut back to Surge and Kit, with Surge playing hacky sack with one of the Badniks' heads, with her saying, "This is the best Eggman has to offer?" Pfft. Only reason Sonic hasn't won is because he clearly isn't trying, only for something to hit her at supersonic speeds. It's none other than Metal Sonic, who slams her into a wall, grabbing her by the throat. And despite the situation, Surge can only smile. Finally, a challenge, she says, as she axe kicks Metal Sonic away. And as Surge goes in for another kick, Metal Sonic easily dodges it, grabs her by her prone leg, and slams her into the ground, full-on Hulk style. Surge tries to go in for a spin dash, but is blocked by Metal Sonic's dark shield. Surge, having hit the ground pretty hard, is helped up by Kit, as she yells at the young Fennec, "Support me, Kit!" Kit says, I am. She responds, "In the fight, stupid!" Metal Sonic then goes racing at Surge, and Surge goes racing back in kind, once again doing a super peel-out. As Surge states, "You want to be the real Sonic? You ain't got the heart. You ain't got the soul." As they lock arms. Oh, more specifically, they lock hands, trying to push the other back. But it's kind of looking like Metal Sonic took that comment to heart, as he pulls Surge in to knee her right in the gut. And as Surge is left prone on the ground, Metal Sonic tries to go in for the coup de grace, bringing his hand down, only to find himself unable to, as a watery tendril has wrapped around his hand. Surge looks up with a smirk and says, "And you ain't got the backup." However, Metal Sonic then starts swinging Kid around by his watery appendages. Surge bounds out of the way and hits Metal Sonic in the head with a spin dash. Metal Sonic tries to respond to this assault by going after Surge, only to find himself slowly more and more consumed by water. Surge shouts over to Kit, "Nice catch, drown him," as she starts spinning around like a tornado. Ooh, she gathers up enough of an electric charge until she's coated with static electricity. And with one snap and a zorch, Metal Sonic receives a full-on shock to his system, and the bot falls to his knees, sizzling, as Kit also retracts his watery appendages. Surge walks over to the down bot and says, "You're never gonna be Sonic, because I'm going to replace him, and you're not even good enough to be my fake." I see what you did there. And so then she flicks Metal Sonic's head as he falls back, lifeless. Surge then calls over to Kit, "How's your head?" Kit, rubbing his aching noggin, says, "Fine. I'm happy to help in any way." Surge responds, "Ha! We're gonna get along just fine, kid." Eggman, who, I guess, was watching all of this, shouts at the monitor and saying, "How dare you! Sonic's victories are bad enough, but at least he shows some respect. These disrespectful whippersnappers!" Cubot, meanwhile, receives an alert and says to Eggman, "Boss? I just noticed there's a weird login." Meanwhile, over at the terminal in the base, Starline is uploading a program using a very on-brand flash drive, as Eggman pops in for a little video chat saying, "Dr. Starline?" As Starline says smugly, "Salutations, sir. Surprised by my return?" Eggman, obviously angered, says, "No, just the manner of it. You're supposed to come back bowing and scraping for daring to sass me, not skulking around one of my servers and what are you doing?" It's interesting. I didn't realize that Eggman was actually expecting Starline to come back. He was full on expecting Starline to try to pull a Snively. But Starline's looking to pull a different kind of Snively, as Starline simply responds with a mischievous grin. "Succeeding you, sir." And he presses a button. Oh, and a massive signal is sent out across the land. The same signal we saw in issue 49 of Sonic the Hedgehog, Gotcha. The signal that controlled Bell. Sonic and Tails and the audience, us, we all thought it was just some random signal, some random command just put out by Eggman specifically. But no, this was the machinations of Starline. But to what end? Just to gain control over everybody's faculties? I should have known something was up with the purple glow of everyone's eyes. All the Badnik's eyes, including Bell. A signal sent to all Eggman robots. Nice little tie-in. A bit of synergy between Evan Stanley and Ian Flynn, because I never even thought it was all connected. At least not on this deep of a level. Orbot and Cubot, who have been possessed by Starline's signal, say, "You're to be confined to your quarters, old boss. The master commands it." Eggman looks on to the two unamused and simply just scrunches them back into their little forms, their compact forms, I guess you could say. He then sits down at his terminal, types in a few things, opens up what I'm going to call a zoot chute right below his feet, and he just swoops right through it. Leave it to Eggman to have a bit of an escape plan. Starline, meanwhile, is being carried away by the Badniks who are now under his control as Surge and Kit look on. Surge saying, "Is it everything you hoped it would be, Doc?" And Starline, wiping a tear from his eyes, says, "Bittersweet as I imagined. But we have only begun. Onward to my new seat of power." Okay, so he took over Eggman's headquarters, basically, and as Starline enters Eggman's throne chamber, he is saluted by the Egg Pawns, with Orbot and Cubot greeting their new master. Starline then takes his seat at Eggman's throne, with Orbot saying, "Welcome, new boss. Your wish is our command." Starline responds by saying, "Transmit the override code across the EggNet. Bring every Badnik in my Starline empire to me. Sonic will surely notice, undoubtedly intervene, and then be confronted and replaced." As we see Sonic, Tails, and Bell chasing after Moto Bud, the good Badnik who has now been possessed, trying to trace where this signal is leading them, as Surge and Kit await their arrival. Meanwhile, Starline sits back and relaxes and says, "This is how it's done. Patience, planning, and preparation. The 3 Ps, always crucial. Every variable accounted for and controlled. Tonight, my meal is victory." I love the way he talks. He then peeks over at Orbot, who can't get out of his compacted form, with Starline saying, "What happened to you?" Cubot says, "Eggman squished me before escaping." Starline is startled. "Escaped? Where?" Orbot responds, "His personal chute to the Memorial Garage. The display museum hasn't been finished yet." Memorial Garage. It looks to be a place with all of his previous giant robots. Boss robots, essentially. Starline sits back and relaxes and says, "Perfectly manageable thanks to my previous planning." Previous planning? Whatever he uses will be taken over once he goes online. Send a detachment to gently take him into custody. Eggman, looking at all of his old boss robots, who are not in the best of state, says, "I thought I'd have time to refurbish all of these. Oh well. This one will have to do," as he takes command of one of his massive Eggman boss robos. Meanwhile, Kit looks up at all the Badniks blanketing the sky and says, "That's an incredible amount of Badniks." Surge looks down at all the Badniks stomping into the distance, saying, "Meh, I could take 'em. Once we smoke Starline and the others, I'll get you to reprogram them all to self-destruct. Well, half. I want to smash some. Most. We'll figure it out." Kit says, "About that, how will we handle Sonic?" Surge says, "I handle Sonic. You handle Tails." Kit responds, but Surge dismisses Kit's objection, saying, "If the egomaniac comes in solo, we'll handle him like Metal Sonic. But if he's got the brat in tow, it's your job to keep him from distracting me. Once the heroes and the doctors are done, we're free to play it by ear. Hunt down all their little friends, topple every stupid city that threw 'em a parade, tear it all down. Just you and me, kid. Sound good? And Kit responds, I can't wait. Next time, Sonic and Tails vs. Surge and Kit in Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 50. Alright, we are gearing up for a massive battle. But, from the looks of things, everything is contained within issue 50. The whole entire big shebang showdown. So is issue 50 just one big fight scene? But it's very obvious this takeover won't last because it happened so easily. Starline has gone to his old tendency of counting his eggs before they hatch, not seeing the forest for the trees. He thinks that there's no way anyone could outdo all of his machinations, and that's gonna bite him in 3 different ways. He hasn't accounted for the cleverness of Eggman, he hasn't thought that Surge and Kit might actually be duplicitous, and Sonic and Tails are just too capable to be taken down like this. The real question is, what happens to Starline after all of this, and what happens to Surge and Kit? How much destruction and devastation do they wreak? Although the showdown between Surge and Metal Sonic was actually pretty sweet, and it really did seem like Metal Sonic would have taken her down if not for Kit giving her some backup. But man, this issue was chock full of content, and I love a good base raid, essentially. Like, we really got to see Surge and Kit truly cut loose. And Ian has gone on record saying that he doesn't want these characters redeemed. He wants to just have bad guys. And I get that. Sometimes you just want people who will come in, throw down with Sonic, and make his life a little bit miserable. So this all really does leave me with the question, what happens after all is said and done? This cover is also incredibly misleading, although most of the Imposter Syndrome covers are misleading, because they always kind of depict Sonic and Tails taking on Surge and Kit, and they have yet to meet by the end of all of it. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think this is all gonna pan out? How much of a bad position is Starline gonna be in when all is said and done? What about Surge and Kit? What will they become after their inevitable defeat? Will they become mercenaries? Wandering bandits? The newest evil masterminds on the block? I know I'm kind of just writing off issue 50, but solicitations have already come out that kind of spoil what happens after the fact, so can't really help that. But I want to hear from you. Any thoughts and theories you might have. And hey, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. It's issue 50 of Sonic the Hedgehog, baby, and I'd love for you to join me for it. But until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.